You don't have to read anything you don't want to read. If you don't want to read a book because the writer is stupid on Twitter, totally get it. That's your right. But if they write a good Superman book, I'm in. Howdy, I'm American Texan, and I love comic books, specifically reading comic books, enjoying the storytelling and the art within. Other channels will deal with the drama, and you can go subscribe to them for that. But if you want to talk about what's in the book, the stories, and the medium itself, enjoying it, this is the channel for you. So hit the subscribe button for more videos like that. And that's kind of the theme of today, because I have two books that I really enjoyed from DC, from two writers that I intentionally don't follow on Twitter. They used to say, don't meet your heroes. Don't follow them on Twitter either, because a lot of folks are boycotting these two writers I'm going to share with you today. And I totally get it. That's their prerogative. But for me, Mark Waid and Dan Slott wrote two really good Superman books this week. And so I'm going to review them along with the other big two books that I read. This is Let's Talk Big Two. This is where I talk about Marvel and DC books that I read. I've got 7 here, I think, and they were all pretty good. Normally, Marvel is not high on my list, but the two books that I read this week, one of them I really liked, one of them, it's a little bit of a segue for me. But let's go over to the table and let's talk about the big two books that I read this week. All right, y'all, it feels good to be back. Let's talk Marvel and DC. Starting with Marvel, I got 2 books here, starting with Punisher and Spider-Man. And this one gives me some hope, because once again, Marvel hired someone that's good with storytelling. I say this even when one of his most recent books I did not like, and I dropped it from my pull list. But this one hits all the right notes. Punisher versus Amazing Spider-Man. This is written by Dan Abnett and illustrated by Matteo De La Font, and it is absolutely gorgeous. We've got Punisher starting off, and it says Punisher versus Amazing Spider-Man, and once again, you get the call out to maybe one of the OGs, Punisher aiming at Spider-Man's chest. But of course, Spider-Man has a different plan. So Punisher finds out about his spider sense, and the illustrations are really well done. I really like the shadowing that's in this one. You can see that really with Punisher's face, but also Spider-Man looks pretty bright and happy all the time. And I think that foreshadows a lot of how they approach heroism. And this one, as you're reading, you find out a little bit more about how they met, but then the mission that they go on to next. And this is a really good exploration of the motivations behind Punisher and Spider-Man. They both come from tragedy, but they both address it in very unique ways. I like character studies like that. I was very surprised that people did not like it as much as I did. The villain of the series, or the arc, is a little wonky. It's Father Crime, who's like a criminal who takes on the mantle of a priest. And it kind of works for me. It's a little silly, but it kind of works. Look at that. Just classic Spider-Man action. That looks so good. I really like that. Also, take a look at his outfit. So I guess this happens in the past. But yeah, so really good book. I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of Punisher, definitely get this. If you're a fan of Spider-Man, get it too, because it's really good. Everything is classic Punisher here, and I think classic Spider-Man. The only negative I had was the quips. While they are good, I was really laughing out loud at a lot of the Spider-Man quips. They get a little old, and that's unfortunately, that seems to be what happens with Marvel all the time, but it wasn't too bad. Then we got Infernal Hulk, and this was probably my least favorite issue of the series. This is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson and illustrated by Adam Gorham. So this is a new illustrator here that we don't normally have. We got a little bit of a cold open here between Iron Man and Carol, and it's just kind of a teaser. Almost seems like maybe it should have been at the end as a cold open, and then they never talk about it again in the book. Seems weird. But this one, if you're a fan of Ultra Mega or any of the what I call goopy monster stories, this one, it will be right up your alley. I really wanted to like Ultra Mega. In fact, I pretty much did like the first volume. Didn't care for it too much after that. They go down into, I can't remember what it's called, the Shadow World or something, and they have to fight some supernatural monsters, and it's gorgeous. It's very pretty, but it's also gets kind of goopy. And it's when it's all just like goop and stuff, that's where you kind of lose me. It's still decent for the series, but it seems more like a filler to me. Not too much happened other than Hulk fights monsters. It was all right. It was the weakest of the series to me, but if you like that, that might be your thing. On to DC. I read 5 DC books, maybe 4.5 if you don't count Vertigo as DC. Starting with Deathstroke, the Terminator. The last issue I did not care for. It was more, let's talk about our feelings over coffee. This one does have some action, but we do get a little more Deathstroke, the title character, being ran over and being a little bit less than capable. We'll say that. And yeah, he is dealing with some tragedy here, but I don't think it's good enough to excuse. So this one is written by Tony Fleece and illustrated by Carmine Di Domenico. And it, as a book itself, it looks gorgeous. We've got Deathstroke taking on a side job that he typically normally doesn't take on. I think he's been hired to kill a man that's been in an affair. And so he has a little bit of a flashback to his wife and some disagreements they had. And they don't really come out and say it. I think you have to know about the character. His wife is ex-military. And then we flash forward to the present where he's on the job, and the job ends up going awry because the new Deathstroke here, the lady Deathstroke that we don't know who it is, interrupts, and they battle, and she finally gets unmasked. There's still some mystery in here. And like I said, this issue was better, but again, he's taken too much by surprise. He's too easily beat. And I know the female Deathstroke, has the same type of training as Deathstroke, but I don't know. I don't believe that, he would lose so easily because she's not also like a superhuman powered person. She just looks like a normal person. So, it's starting to lose me. The next issue is going to be make or break. I think it's going to end the arc. We'll see how it is. Tony Fleece is normally a hit for me, but Deathstroke, is not hitting it for me. Maybe you can disagree with me in the comments. Then I also read Lobo #5 by Scott Young and illustrated by Jorge Corona. And this is, again, so much fun. Still more of a irreverent comedy book than a superhero book. But y'all, they're just nailing. If you're the kind of person like me who likes to sit with a page and realize all the background jokes, this is hilarious. I mean, just the fact that he took the time to draw a space goldfish here, just cracks me up. And then you've got like things here, press in case of Lobo button. Just all these little side jokes in the background are so good, so funny. You can spend a lot of time. You definitely get your value's worth for this book. And we've got Lobo here dealing with some of the aftermath of his life as a bounty hunter, and then he comes across this lady who very obviously is a bounty hunter and not a courtesan, so to speak. And yeah, it's really well drawn, and it's a comedy, but man, it is hilarious. And they're still going into some of that, and look at that, the guns are popping off the page there. It still is a little bit of going into the televised bounty hunter reality TV show idea or whatever, which I can understand is not really like a great anchor point for a story to hook you, but this book is so well drawn, so funny. I'm super enjoying it. This was one of my favorite reads of the week for sure. Another enjoyable read for the week is End of Life #6. This ends an arc, and you get a really interesting dynamic here between this guy, Niels. He's a mute little person. Don't cancel me. This is written by Kyle Starks and illustrated by Steve Pugh. Wow, this continues to be hilarious because we get some really just irreverent comedy, characters that you should hate, but you also realize that they are human too. They have a heart too. And so he's complaining about a situation, and then the lady that's hosting him is like, "This is my situation every day. Why are you complaining?" And the only thing he can say is, "So you do know this sucks." There's the little man there who's been contracted to kill our protagonist. And yeah, it's irreverent. It's funny. I don't know how to describe it other than if you like vulgarity, like this is like Step Brothers type humor. Then they surprise you because, you've got the main character's dad. He's dying of cancer and lung cancer. And he has to like figure out how to grow a heart at the last of his dad's life, much like his dad kind of grew a heart in the last of his life. So really well illustrated, hilarious in the pacing, and just super enjoyable. This does end the arc. Didn't feel too much like an arc end. Feels like it should have one more issue, but still very enjoyable, very funny. And definitely if you read the first issue and you're like, I don't know about this one, the first issue is definitely the worst one. The first issue feels like it had the most editorial interference, and now we're just back to raw Kyle Stark doing what he does best: irreverent, mature comedy and action. Really recommend this one. These next two books are probably why I can't crack 200 subscribers, because from all of the social media stuff, you should not be reading these two books. This is by Dan Slott, Superman Unlimited, and Mark Waid, World's Finest. And yeah, I get it. They're not good people. They probably don't want to be in the same room as me. I don't want to follow them on Twitter. We don't have a lot of the same agreements. But look, put all that aside, you write a good story, I'm in. And I agree. A lot of times your personal beliefs can infect your writing, but Mark Waid does a fantastic job with that. Dan Slott, not so much, but he's doing well with this Superman Unlimited. So this is Superman Unlimited number 15, written by Dan Slott and illustrated by, I think it's Lucas Meyer. Yeah, Lucas Meyer. And this is the finale, I believe, to the arc where John Kent rescues younger himself from a volcano. But even though he has faith in the young John Kent, some other people, Damian, kind of gets a gut feeling that it's not really John Kent. It's not really the real Superboy that he grew up fighting crime with. And I still need to read all of the Damian and John Kent adventures. I hear they're really good, really well done. This one is really well illustrated. I enjoy it, and it moves pretty fast, but at least what it moves fast through is heart-touching. You get a little bit of everything in this one. You get some family, you get some redemption, you get some anger, you get some angst. It's all really good. You get some hope and inspiration, and overall, I really enjoyed the story. A lot of pieces tie together. Look up in the sky. It's definitely a plane when Damian flies through. So I enjoyed it. And at the beginning of the arc, you're like, Damian's being paranoid. And it's typical Batman paranoia, right? Batman is always paranoid, even though when you want him to believe in the person he's paranoid against. And Damian kind of gets the same thing. But then you realize that maybe he's more right than wrong, but he's not 100% right. Just really good, really well done, really inspirational, I think, and hopeful. Everything a Superman book should be. Really enjoyed that one. Finally, we've got World's Finest number 53. This is written by Mark Waid and illustrated by Dan Mora. And, ooh, man, this is Dan Mora at his finest. We've got the Batman and Robin and Superman on this savage planet alternate world here. And they are facing aliens who have split up Superman's powers because Superman's been possessed. And it just looks gorgeous because it's Dan Mora. Look at that. So this is evil Superman taking on the new protagonist's friends that we met. And man, that just looks so good. And yeah, it wraps up pretty well. It wraps up a little quickly. This is a short 3-issue arc, but I'm okay with that. And the action by Dan Mora is great. The characters by Dan Mora look fantastic. The writing here, the resolution was a little quick, so I had to kind of go back through it. And okay, let's get all the pieces, all the beats here together. But overall, it was still really well. And of course, you see right here on screen, Dan Mora doing what he does best, drawing beautiful, strong women there. So overall, this is, if you like Savage Land, if you like, of course, World's Finest, you like more hopefulness too, because there is some hopefulness where even though Superman and Batman are possessed, they don't kill. And they're like, why aren't they killing them? Or why did they leave this person alive? And Robin says it's that deep ingrained into their DNA. And that's when you almost see, like, you know, the whole no kill argument, even though I am pro kill, like Joker should have been dead a long time ago. Maybe not by the hands of Batman, but he should have been dead a long time ago. You realize that maybe while it is a crutch, it's another thing that's just part of their DNA. It's not something that's supposed to happen. It's not something they're ever going to do because it's not who they are. So really recommend that. I think it was fantastic. Again, Mark Waid is someone that probably we have very little agreements on, probably doesn't want to be in the room with me. But man, he writes a really good Superman story. So I definitely liked Batman Superman's World's Finest number 53. Now, as far as top 3 picks for the week, this is really tough. And I'm going to have to go on feeling here because there were so many good books. I mean, I wish End of Life and Lobo would be on the list, but they're going to be 4 and 5. Top 3 is going to be Superman Unlimited, number 15, World's Finest, number 53, and Punisher and Spider-Man number 1, because that was just a really fun read. But ultimately, I think it's going to be in this order. Superman Unlimited, I think, was my favorite issue of the week because I was just grinning from ear to ear. Beautiful action, fun story, hope, everything I want to see in a Superman book. Even if it was written by Dan Slott, hey, when you do a good job, props to you. So that's my top 3 picks of the week. So there you have it. And again, you read what you want. You don't read what you want. It's a free country. And that's a great thing about America. And so thank you guys for watching. Let me know what your top 3 big 2 reads of the week were, or if you read any of these books. Let's nerd out in the comments. Comic books, while it is an introverted hobby, doesn't have to be enjoyed solely on your own. Love chatting with people, getting book recommendations, and also their thoughts on what's going on in the books, especially when you hear a theory from another fan and you're like, oh, that makes so much sense. And it makes your enjoyment of the hobby even more. So thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, and all the YouTube stuff, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Adios.